Hello, Deep Mindfulness Collective. My name is Janusz. I'm excited to be here as your host, and it's wonderful to see people starting to roll in. I am here with my lovely guest plant, Heikki from Finland. Some of you may know how Heikki got their name, and we will talk a little bit more about that later. So this is how it goes here. I just want to explain if you haven't been here before. So the first thing people typically do is say hello in the chat, and people are already saying hello. Lewis is back with us again. Thank you so much for joining, Lewis. It's good to see you so frequently. Avery, welcome back. Brent, I am so happy you're here. I just have one, I feel bad because the plant was named Brent for a whole day and you weren't here to see it. So everyone knows, just a little bit of a mourning for the loss of our beautiful plant, Purple. Actually, it was called Purple, and that was a very kind gift that someone gave to name the plant after Purple. Oh, Ralph sent me a pic. Oh, perfect. Okay, so who else do we have here? Deborah with a little bug. Oh, I love the little bug. Okay, so Deborah's here. Ellie Tripp is here. Wow, Ellie, thank you so much for joining us. It's so delightful to have you. Ellie, where are you coming from? Are you still in the South? I can't remember if you're down there. And thank you, folks, for letting us know where you're coming from, so folks know where we are. Let's see. This is what I really meant. Okay. Whoops. Never mind. Okay. Well, I love that little bug either way. But so, yeah, if anyone hasn't already, let us know where you're coming from. It's helpful for people just to see where everyone is. And it's great to be here with you folks. So just a little bit about the rundown. We're going to say hello. As everyone knows, this is we have the friendliest chat on the internet. And so say hello to each other, connect. Ohio, I'm defending my dissertation later, so I wanted to ground myself. Oh, that's so cool. So I'm so happy that, what's called, I'm a little confused by the chat. Okay. So, I'm so excited that you get to defend your dissertation. I'm happy we get to, participate in that. Let's see, where in Ohio? That's what it was. You said, where is Ohio? I thought that was very funny. We're in Ohio. This is a bad typing day. I thought that was really funny. Okay. Where is Ohio? Okay. I might not even be able to point it out on a map. I know roughly where it is. It's in the middle somewhere. So lovely. So we're all here together. We're going to be able to practice together, and we're really excited to have you here. So how this will generally go is we'll talk a little bit. Our world's friendliest chat will connect with each other, and we'll all get to practice a bit. The practice is typically about 25 minutes. And let's see. Oh, Deborah grew up in Cincinnati. Hello, with a gazillion years ago. So it's wonderful that we'll be able to practice together for about 25 minutes, and then afterwards we'll do questions and reports, and be able to connect in that way. So a little bit about our plant. Our plant is here to support us and support the chat. And so how this works is the first person to give a super chat, which is a donation. You can see that at the bottom of your chat box. There's a little $sign, and that helps support the stream itself. So the first person to give a super chat gets high fives from me, double camera high fives, and a triple high five. And then the last person who puts in the super chat gets the plant named after them for the following day. And so Heikki got the plant named after them from yesterday. And actually, as everyone knows, what I do is I have a whole warehouse full of identical plants grown, spawned from the same exact seed. Everything is the same. So I actually don't just erase the name and put someone else's name on it. We actually get a different plant, and each one goes into an archive, a kind of museum that only I can see. So that's how it works. So feel free to ask any questions or anything you want, and we will be beginning meditating around joy in just a moment. Lithuania, in the Baltic states. Well, Mattis. Is it Mattis or? Well, I guess you can't correct my pronunciation. Mattis. Wonderful. I keep thinking that everyone is answering Deborah's question, where is Ohio? And Mattis is answering Lithuania in the Baltic states. So lovely. Okay. So we have been practicing around the theme of joy, and we're going to be practicing today and tomorrow also on the same theme. And we might spill over into the next week. I wanted to make sure we have a nice, good peppering of practices. And today we're going to be talking about joy in relationship to producing the experience of joy. So yesterday we practiced detecting what the experience of joy might feel like. Today we're going to practice producing the experience of joy. And for some people that might be possible, for some it might not, but we'll do a little bit of a triggering practice to create that and hopefully spring that to the surface. And then we're going to let go of the triggering and observe the experience of joy, and it'll slowly fade away. So we'll go back and forth between triggering it, letting it fade away, triggering it, letting it fade away. And it's a helpful skill because what ends up happening is that people can get a little bit, I don't want to say obsessed, but they can get this idea that they're supposed to feel joy all the time. We want to know that joy is something that's available. It's one of the colors on the palette of human emotion, but it's not the most important emotion. It's not the best emotion. It's not the worst emotion. It's just one color. So we're going to trigger the experience of joy and then watch it fade and notice whatever happens. Maybe there'll be clinging. We'll want it to stick around. Maybe there'll be a sense of relief because sometimes joy can feel a little agitating, that kind of thing. And we'll go from there. So if anyone has any questions before we begin, please let me know. We're going to be sitting in a still posture, so we want to remain still for the duration of the sit. You do this by arranging the body well, ignoring any impulses to move or adjust the body unless you're uncomfortable or you're in pain or that kind of thing. If that's the case, you're not in meditation jail, not yet, but you're not today. So feel free to adjust the body if you need to. Just wait a few breath cycles, just half a minute or a minute or so before you do, and to make sure to make the movement very slowly so that you are making sure you're doing so mindfully. Okay, delightful. Okay, so we will gear towards beginning. So finding a nice comfortable posture. And when you're ready, just gently closing the eyes. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths and just feeling the body rise and fall. We arrive at each meditation with the momentum of all of the previous moments. And the way that we can break through this momentum is by paying very close attention to the sensations of this particular moment. So we might imagine that we just came into existence. These are the first sensations we've ever detected. This is the first time we've ever felt a human body breathing. We'll begin by sweeping through the body to be sure we're not holding any undue tension. Starting at the top of the head, relax the brow, relax the eyes. Allow the face to go smooth. Relax the tongue and let the jaw go slack. Relax the neck and the shoulders. The upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, and deeply relaxing the hands. Asking the sensations of the hands, what would these sensations feel like if they were far more relaxed than they currently are? Letting go of any attempt to control the breath, just letting the body breathe as it will. Noticing the natural tightening and relaxing of the upper chest and upper back as the breath comes and goes. Relaxing the belly and the lower back. Relaxing the hips and the upper legs. The knees and calves. The ankles and the feet. And again, asking this question of the sensations of the body. What would the body feel like if it were far more relaxed than it was at this moment? We're going to take a few moments to tune into the subtle sensations of relaxation in the body. What are the most light, subtle, delicate sensations of relaxation that you can detect? And as you begin to notice these very subtle sensations of rest, maybe at the edge of restful areas in the body, start to notice the breath from there. Notice the way the breath is affecting these sensations, nudging them or moving them. So we're going to observe the breath, but in particular in relation to these subtle sensations of rest, subtle sensations of breath, this light effervescent quality, anywhere we notice it in the body. In relationship or in tandem with the breath. If it's helpful, we can use a breath counting strategy. At the beginning of the next in-breath, counting 1, following the sensations of the breath very closely. At the end of the next out-breath, counting 2. And in this way, counting the breath so that if we lose the count, it's likely we've lost awareness of the sensations of the breath. And continuing the count. And continuing the count up to 10 and then backwards down from 9 to 1. Letting the counting be just barely there in the background, and all of our awareness is on these sensations. And if we lose the count, it's likely we've lost awareness of the sensations of the breath. This is quite normal. It's not a problem. Simply starting the count again at any number. No big deal. Allowing ourselves to be fascinated with these subtle sensations related to the breath, related to rest. Now we're going to make a slight transition. We're going to imagine some things that will help us connect with the experience of joy. And then we'll let the imagining go and just feel those sensations in the body until they fade. And we'll re-engage in triggering the joyful imagining experience. So we're in a somewhat tranquil place, so doing this in a way that doesn't feel disruptive. So I'd like you to imagine that as we're sitting here now, wherever you are, all of a sudden some cute and adorable children enter the room and they're very excited. Maybe they're jumping all around you. And here you are trying to be a good meditator, trying to get through this serious practice. There's a kind of bubbliness. They're jumping up and down, and maybe there's balloons involved, and there's that kind of joyous excitement. We're trying to allow ourselves to be swept away in this image a bit, so if you notice resistance, just letting go of that. If it feels natural to bring a smile to the face, to gear the system towards joy, feel free. You can imagine the children are hugging you and still jumping up and down, shaking and jiggling the whole body, occasionally poking you in the ribs in a sort of tickly way. We've all had experiences where we're supposed to be quiet, tranquil, or studious, and we're about to laugh out loud. That giggly energy inside the body. So whatever you need to amplify this silly, giggly, buoyant energy in the body, feel free to do that now. Again, keeping the body still, but imagining any images, any audio, the silly sounds that go along with this situation. And as much as you can, feeling all of these sensations throughout the body. You may notice they can feel similar to the light, effervescent qualities of breathing and rest. And then letting go of imagining anything at all. Not trying to gear the body towards joy, just noticing the sensations in the body. Letting go and noticing them from a place of peace, neutrality. Truly enjoying them. And if it's helpful, we can use a mental label, feel, or joy, each time we detect these sensations, and slowly watch as they fade away over time. And a few things might happen. The emotion might fade away. In that case, we can choose to re-engage with the triggering practice to trigger more joy, to watch it come and go. Alternatively, the emotion may not fade away. It might just hang out there. If that's the case, watching its qualities, its dynamics. And another option is that what might happen is that we might not be detecting joy at all. And often if that's the case, we can have other emotions. We can have sadness or disappointment. Frustration, annoyance. And if that's the case, simply observing these emotions in the same way, observing them, eventually watching them potentially fade or not. Accepting that this is the shape of my current emotional experience. This is the current emotional experience of being alive. But whatever's happening for you, having appreciation that you're in a human body-mind that can experience these things, this dance of being alive emotionally, awareness moving, changing. Knowing that this is the only moment, your only chance to detect these particular sensations. And if we don't care, or if we aren't interested, we'll miss them. And these particular sensations won't occur in this formation again. And perhaps we can detect joy, but the mind keeps being drawn to something challenging. And that's okay, letting the challenging thing be there in the background and just training the mind over and over again to come back to the experience of joy or simply peace. Low or no emotional intensity in the body. And staying with the practice, staying in stillness, allowing a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes, and eventually fixing the eyes on one point as they fully open. And this is the way we learn to bring this practice into our daily lives. This is the most important part of this meditation. This is what we've been working towards. Here we are with our eyes open, sitting as we do much of our day. The only difference being a willingness to attend to our emotional experience, and in particular joy if it happens to be present. Okay. Taking a few comfortable deep breaths and just feeling the body rise and fall. Making any adjustments you need to, pardon me, to allow the body to be comfortable. I apologize for coughing at everyone in the middle of that. A little frog attacked me. So, whenever we end a meditation, I always find it's important to talk about what happened for me. This is another way of compounding and strengthening the experience. We, over time as a culture, are getting better about talking about our internal landscape. Psychology is an example of this. We've been working on that for a while, but often it's in the narrative sense. We talk about, well, my childhood was like this, and today it affects me in this way, which is important. But to talk about our experience from a non-narrative perspective, this occurred, I was sleepy, then I noticed this sensation, whatever was occurring, is really powerful and helpful for the practice to evolve. So let me know, are there any reports or questions, anything that came up that was challenging or interesting? Interesting things are great because by emphasizing those, the system will tend towards greater interest. So let me know what that was like now. It'll take a minute. There's a little bit of a delay, so feel free to start typing and I'll respond as they arise. In the meantime, I want to show you a little bit about my plants. Again, please feel free to comment because I wanted to mention this, but I do want to talk to you folks. So this plant here is one that I've been trying to rescue and save for a long time. It doesn't have a name, but if somebody wants to give it a name, we can talk about that. We can figure it out. I've been trying to save it for a long time, and has this very like womp womp thing going on. But I started to notice some new shoots here, so that's kind of nice. But we'll see. And so I've brought it a brother, another ZZ plant, hopefully so that it'll feel bad about it. It'll feel jealous and bad about itself, and it'll get its act together, because this one's very healthy. It's pretty new, and I'm thinking that maybe these two together, there'll be some healthy competition here, and this plant will, pick up its slacker pace. This sort of thing, it'll just realize, hey, we gotta get our act together if we want to be considered cool by all the big ZZ plants that we have around. I didn't realize I had so many ZZ plants, but I do apparently. Oh, we have something here from Brent. Okay. Imagining children frolicking around me led to actual memories rather than fantasies, real memories. I have that provoked happiness I could sit with. That's wonderful. When one of those memories faded, I reimagined it and found another. That's great. And that's also going to have more impact because it's personal to you. The trigger practice isn't this perfect thing that you have to do it exactly one way, etc. We're trying to do whatever we can to gear ourselves towards any particular emotion. This time we're talking about joy. But in a trigger practice, you can use any trigger to trigger anything and just notice that there's this cause and effect relationship. Observe whatever you'd like to observe in that way. But I think using a personal memory, if that works, is excellent. It's a great idea. I had a similar experience to Ellie's saying. I had a similar experience to Brent. It started as imaginary, but then turned into actual memories. That's lovely. And Ellie, I'm curious, was that helpful in detecting joy in the body? That I'd be curious about, because one of the dangers I'm sure folks can imagine is that we fall in. There's the fantasy, and the fantasy will just turn into other fantasies or memories, etc., and it'll just be another distracting outlet, a way for us to, let the mind keep running. But was it useful for detecting what was happening in the body in the present moment? That's another thing that will come up for people when we do trigger practice. Is people will think that the trigger is the practice, whereas the trigger is just giving us something to pay attention to that we might not normally notice. I walked up to someone in the street, I was walking past someone in New York, and they stopped me and they're like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. You taught this meditation, a few years ago, and I love it. It was so great." And basically, it was a different trigger, but basically they were like, "So anytime I feel stressed, I just imagine all those little kids around me, and it's great." But it was more abstract than that, because it was teaching a class on see-in, so it was the mental seeing, and I would have people imagine a sailboat, and then I'd have them turn it in space and notice that the mind can see these things. And so she would say, every time I meditate, I just imagine that sailboat and everything's okay, which I thought was very sweet. But I didn't have time to say, that's not what I meant. I was just like, great, I'm glad it's working for you. Pew, and I had to run the other way. So the trigger is not the practice. The trigger is just the trigger. So Lewis says, usually I associate joy with a feeling in my chest, throat, etc. But mostly I was noticing it in my legs, feet, and hands, which was interesting. Yeah, emotion can happen anywhere, and emotion tends to happen in the front of the body because most of the things we experience in our senses are designed to be frontal. They happen, as though they're in front. But very interestingly, our senses are very location oriented. So seeing is right here. We can't see past that, obviously. Hearing is sort of omnidirectional. Feeling is body sensation. It's all up and down, but it's typically not past that. So how do we detect things outside of ourselves that might be dangerous or something we want to move towards or that kind of thing? Emotion is actually this signal system in the body pushing and pulling us in different directions, so that if there's something yucky on one side, the body will feel yucky over there and want to move away from it. And if there's something lovely and joyful on this side, which is typically in front of us, we'll want to move towards it. So the body is definitely set up on a XYZ axis with I'm not sure which axis this would be, but the forward axis being the sort of most predominant. So thank you for that. That's interesting to notice that we can experience that emotion anywhere. Ellie says, yes, I have a fair amount of anxiety today for my defense later, and I'm hungry. So I wasn't sure joy would come up, but I did feel sensations of joy and wanted to giggle. Lovely. Wanting to giggle is a delight. And it's also exciting to know that we can actually do that at any time. We can just bring joy up. We were talking about yesterday that when you get good at bringing joy up, at some point you realize, oh, this is limited. And you start to think, well, maybe I want to bring up happiness or some other emotion, or maybe I want to learn to be content with whatever emotion is present. But it is an excellent skill to have, to just bring joy. And we can also bring a little bit more joy to a situation that's already joyful. And we can learn to express ourselves in ways that we might not normally be able to. Ellie also says, I could feel a lightness around my heart and then a constriction at the base of my throat, like I was about to laugh. Oh, wonderful. That's great. And I'd be curious if during your defense you can bring up a little joy too. That's the advanced level, when we bring it to something that's already challenging, bringing a little bit of this nurture positive in here. Any other questions or reports? Anything come up for people? Challenges. Often when we do a practice where we're cultivating joy, it will be, you're already on it. Okay, great. It will be, the opposite will arise. So the mind will fight back and it'll say, well, you want me to bring up joy? Well, all I notice is that everything is kind of annoying today, or this kind of thing. So to know that that's natural, one thing, but also to know that it's something we can work with, just to notice, okay, the system works in this way, it has this tendency. It doesn't mean that's a more important thought or emotional experience. It just means that the body is responding in that way, and we can know something about ourselves. So any other questions or reports? Oops, I just spilled about half a gallon or maybe a quart of water on the floor on top of a bunch of cords, but it looks like everything is safe, so I'm not going to do anything about that. Oh, here we go. From Chloe, are you doing the live stream every day? I thought it was just Mondays. No, Chloe, it is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we're doing it all those 3 days of the week. If people are really stoked on it and people really love it, then we would move to Thursday, that kind of thing, also. But right now we're doing it 3 days a week, and we're going to be exploring this theme, the themes over a period of time. So we're going to be doing joy again tomorrow, and maybe the following week as well. And we're always open to different themes and different things coming up in that way. It's so funny. I have a carpet here, and it's just like this. I have an extra container of water if I need any water, and it's large. This is the container that spilled, so that's what we have. Luckily, it's not at my feet yet. Yeah, we're excited to be here with you. We're so happy you're able to join us today too. So, as we're, if there are any other questions or reports, please let me know. I never want to cut anyone off, but there's also this funny delay, so we'll see if anyone rolls in with anything else. As always, people are welcome to let us know if they have any questions or any challenges that are arising. We just released I think it's in the, I think it might be in the description of this. I'm not sure, but I'll put a link for 7 guided meditations, which are 7 foundational guided meditations for Shinzen. And we'll also have, we also started group mentorship recently. So if people are interested in either working with us one-on-one, or what we just started is group mentorship. So let me put this link. Okay, I'm just opening this up. Oh, that's not our website. How about that? So it's deepmindfulness.io. Okay, here we go. I got the link. Wonderful. Okay, here you folks go. These are the 7 guided meditations if they are of interest to you. Okay. Zaranith, I love that name. Zaranith, where are you coming from? I'd be curious, or what the background of that name is, or maybe it's just a username. He says, there could be the streaming details in the description Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, it's funny that they're not there, so my apologies. As well as a link to the system you teach, and then instructions for the super chat, so you don't need to describe it every time. I know, Zenith, it's probably a little repetitive to hear. From what I understand from my streaming friends, they say to make sure to explain it every time. So hopefully people can use their practice and connect with that. Will you be taking part in the immersion retreat thing? Yes, I will. I think I have 2 units that I'll be teaching in immersion. So that will be, I don't know the schedule for that, but it'll probably say on immersion. Just search my name, which if you don't know offhand, I'll just put it in the chat. There it is. Yeah. Thanks for understanding, Zenith. It's basically that people know the fact, but then they typically will forget, and people will just forget that it's there, forget that it's important. Plus, I'm very happy to have Heike have their name on the plant for a further, for tomorrow as well. And sometimes people just want that plant name, and people are shy being the first one or that kind of thing. So we'll typically encourage folks in that way. So as we're closing out, I just want to say thanks everyone for coming. I say this almost every time, but I'm always surprised at how connected this feels. I thought it would feel a little bit more remote, but it actually feels really much more connected, and the community actually feels like it's growing and people are connecting. So make sure to say hi to each other, and you can actually keep chatting after the live stream ends. So if you want to say hello or that kind of thing, feel free, or share any resources. And we'd love to see folks here tomorrow. We have a possible scheduling thing that Michael Taft is going to be visiting us at the end of April. We have to figure out what date that's actually going to be, but just know Michael Taft is on deck. And so it's an exciting time. And but that's a great piece of input about putting the information down below, especially around some of the links in the schedule. And I apologize for that not being there. I'll make sure it's there for tomorrow. So, folks, thank you so much. As always, have a delightful day, and make sure to tip your waiter, whoever that is. The waiter might be you today. So have fun, and I'll see everyone soon. All right, bye, guys. Bye.